Only losses in the Ellio
Yeah, pretty much.
portfolio tracker.
Oh, dude.
we'll like.
As most of you know, Canelo is fighting Triple G this Saturday on September 17th. It is arguably going to be one of the biggest boxing fights of the entire year. No shade to Jake Paul. And to watch this fight, it costs $85. It's $65 to purchase the pay-per-view, plus the additional $20 to get 1 month of streaming on DAZN streaming platform. But there is another way you could watch this, and that's through the Canelo and Triple G Metaverse Experience NFT. Now, 10,000 of these NFTs are going to be launched on September 12th. Each NFT costs $65, and what they get you, besides obviously a dope NFT, is each NFT is going to allow you to stream the fight in the metaverse. They built this insane arena of the stadium in Decentraland. It looks pretty fucking awesome. And besides being able to stream it and get the NFT, each holder is also going to be entered in a giveaway to win a mutant ape, sports memorabilia, a $25,000 package to go to Canelo's next fight, and a lot more. So you got two options. You could go watch the fight on pay-per-view, spend $85 and have to watch it in your couch like a bozo, or you could go purchase this NFT, save $20, get to watch it in Decentraland in the metaverse, be entered to win other giveaways, and with that $20, you could buy yourself some food or beverage of choice, whatever. The choice is yours. In addition to all the giveaways, each NFT purchase will also come with 2 months of free streaming on DAZN streaming service. Pretty cool. Visit DAZNboxing.io, buy the NFT, click the link on the website to enter the arena that they built in Decentraland. And guys, remember, this segment, as well as all other sponsored segments, have a material relationship with the ngmi podcast. So please do your own research before investing into this or anything. Now let's get back to the show.
Sure, we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
Ellio, what's going on, man? How you living?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on this couch.
Yeah, no, it's a nice couch. It's a great couch.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so for anyone who is joining us, welcome back to NGMI, your favorite, most uplifting, optimistic, inspirational, I don't know, dude.
Never the same set twice.
Yeah.
Handheld mic
Yep.
podcast. With us today, we have the amazing, the accredited, multi-hundred thousands follower subscriber, Elio Trades.
Thank you.
Elio, could we get a formal intro for the people?
I'm Elio Trades. I started making crypto videos back really at the beginning of last bear market. Didn't know it was the last bear market when I started. But, you know, I love this space. I have a project called Superfarm. We have a video game called Imposters, and we also have a forthcoming NFT marketplace that we're really excited to release. We're currently testing it, and we're just excited to keep building tech we believe in. And yeah, it's cool to be talking to you guys. I'm excited to hear everything you guys have in store for me today.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's it just like, it's cool that you started making content in like the last bear market, because like obviously like we're in a bear market now, we're making content, so pretty much, champ, I think we'll be okay, dude.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, we should.
Fucking hope
We should
so,
be
bro.
the equivalent of Elio next bull market. It's coming soon. It's coming soon.
Yeah, any day now is gonna be the bull market, guys. Like Bitcoin to $1 million like tomorrow. Like
OpenSea hired 20% of, OpenSea fired 20% of their staff to prep for the NFT bull market next week.
So they're down to 4 employees now.
Yeah, so we should
kidding,
be
just
good.
kidding.
We should be good. Yeah, those Cloudflare servers are about to be struggling next week. But yeah, Elio, we appreciate you coming on the channel, man. It's a nice change of pace actually from the time that I spent with Kevin to hear you speak, so eloquently and professionally about like really legitimate crypto business pursuits. And I want to talk a little bit more about that in detail here on the channel. But I was, hoping, and I'm trying to get in a habit of doing a better job of this because we do have viewers who are more and less versed in crypto.
Yeah.
If you're speaking to somebody who is not deeply familiar with Web3, not deeply familiar with crypto or NFTs, right? Who is Elio Trades? How did you start, and what is sort of your mission, right, when it comes to sort of your 5-10 year plan for your journey through crypto?
Yeah, that's a good question. I started working in a startup right out of college. My first company I worked at was an educational gaming company, building mobile games to teach language, and I really got the bug of just trying to build tech that had a real purpose and helped people's lives out, and had like a really unique use case that could actually help a lot of people have a better day, a more fun day, or really serve a critical use. And one of the companies that I've worked the hardest on, which was a live streaming platform with my current business partner, ended up like that founder, not either one of us, ended up sort of coming and delivering the news that, we thought we had another 10 months of runway. And it turned out that the founder had sort of appropriated some of the funds and used them for personal, and it was super heartbreaking. And right at that time, it was 2017, and crypto was really just taking off on its bull run. And I became, I was super upset about this company I'd poured my heart and soul into for years, and it was effectively just kind of like came to a sudden stop. But then I found crypto, and all of a sudden, it felt like the concept of Web3, or the next thing after mobile web, and the App Store, became obvious to me. And it was the financial layer around the internet became clear to me, the internet of value. And since then, it was sort of something that once I sort of saw it, and I saw it for what it was, I couldn't unsee it. And all through that bull market, I made some good money. But I just became obsessed with the concepts and the ethos and the potential of the tech. And I kind of had exhausted everyone in my life to talk about it with. So and it didn't take long, and it was this was before NFTs, so there was just no pictures at all, right? Actually, there's a few NFTs, but the reality is that it was I had no other outlet, so I just wanted to talk to more and more people about it, and I just started making videos because I felt so excited about it, and I had no one to share it with, and so I just figured I would contribute to the community, and the process of making content and staying obsessed and trying to find that next thing that moves the rock forward, just constantly drove me to learn every day, get better every day, just kind of develop. And that's how I got to be, a content creator and have a project of my own, was just purely being obsessed with the industry and working hard and building a cool audience. And yeah, I think that those sort of lessons transfer to anyone.
Did you when you started, did you ever think you would accomplish what you've accomplished, or be at the level you're at right now?
I always wanted to. I always wanted to be one of the top people, whatever that meant. At the time the industry was much smaller, so the top people had 100K followers or 50K followers, and that to me was a huge number. I'd never really done social media for myself. I'd never made content as tried to put myself out there as a public figure or anything. And so the numbers, even when I got my first 1,000 followers, I was like, wow, this is crazy, And so I don't think I ever conceptualized it from I want X followers or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I definitely was always I want to be one of the people who helps make crypto popular, who helps bring a product to market that helps normal people benefit from crypto. That was kind of how I've always thought about it, is if I could help come up with the consumer use case that connects this obviously sick tech with where it's going. And throughout 2018, I was lucky to have been in the bear, and to think of projects during the bear, because we will go back to the bear, right? And so whenever you have the kind of growth we had, you're going to have the other side of it. And so, that was where I kind of conceptualized a project, which was, you can't have tokens be the reason people show up, and you can't expect the number to go up. In fact, you should expect the number to go down. And then in that world, what is a way that crypto can still enrich people's lives? And so that was kind of my thought process and my obsession, and what brought me to gaming.
I've never heard it conceptualized that way. That's really interesting, because obviously you're a bull on crypto long term, which means mass adoption, which means when you talk about the numbers should go down, the average viewer is oh, what do you mean it should go down? But right, realistically, as mass adoption ensues, the market caps of these products and the price action can't go like this forever, right?
Yep.
Especially if it's going to be like a sustainable, consumer-friendly solution. So I want to talk about gaming a little bit, because obviously that's sort of right in the center of your wheelhouse. You have Superfarm, but I want to hear in a little bit more detail, like where you see that going for the average consumer, right? Like, when do you see people like, my little brother, for example, he loves video games. He doesn't know anything about crypto or NFTs. Like, when and how do you see that average consumer beginning to, cross paths with this technology? And do you think that they will even really know that they are crossing paths with that technology? Or do you see it being more of sort of, a seamless experience?
Yeah, so all the above, right? It's got to be within a product. Everybody knew the internet was a super powerful thing, but it wasn't until really social media and the iPhone that people needed the internet with them at all times. It wasn't until Uber, where you could press a button and get across town, and that people were like, oh, I need that technology in my life. And then Instagram, it was product-based, how we even really adopted mobile web and all of these different technologies. Before, people would use the internet in a much more sort of like when they needed something from the internet, but it wasn't like tied to you, and it wasn't like you didn't get the benefit out of it. So you can track these sort of dynamic growths of technologies. In my opinion, it's always product based. I use the example of Tesla, right? People knew electronic cars were better, but it wasn't until they had this product, the Tesla, that all of a sudden they felt like they had a lifestyle improvement. And I think it'll be product based again with crypto, right? Where I've said it before, if Fortnite skins were on Ethereum, every 15-year-old would know how to work a MetaMask like the back of their hand. It wouldn't be a question. It would be zero questions, right? And so it's, to me, the first obvious one is gaming, because you don't have any other market at scale where people buy digital stuff because they enjoy it. Like everything else in NFT, like most of the stuff in NFT is somewhat tied to value accrual. And
largely,
largely, except for, we were talking a little bit before this about Fidenzas, and there's an amazing art community that loves NFTs and the art for the art. But there's a reality that, when you buy a skin in a video game, you buy it because you think it's cool and you want to play as it. And you have almost over $100 billion of people around the world and real money spent every year on that. And so that's a market where there's digital stuff where people actually care about the digital stuff. And so if you gave people, more ownership and more flexibility, and just made that digital stuff like increase the value of it to the consumer, that's an easy way to conceptualize the first hit, in my opinion, sort of use of blockchain. There's going to be a lot of them. But to me, the billion users come from gaming. And then, with that, but in the end, it's got to be that people just love the game, right? And so if people love the game, they want to spend their time there, then they'll spend their money there. And if they then, for example, for grinding in a game, you get like a token in your account that maybe it's non-tradable, maybe it is tradable. Just the point is that you get these rewards that are more concrete. And it represents your identity. And I think that those things are really interesting. And so, yeah, I haven't been able to think of really anything else for the last 4 years. And there's a lot of really cool stuff that emerged that is bull market phenomenons. Like the marketplace tech that we're building is super sick. But, just like you've seen with OpenSea, during the bull market, it's going to be, these insane numbers. And then during the bear market, it's going to be a lot lower. But they're sort of synergistic. But no one's coming into crypto going, wow, this marketplace to trade NFTs is like, this changed my life. It's like, no, that makes your life better once you're in Web3. But for adopting Web3, it's got to be a product you love, and it's got to be something that makes your day better. And to me, like, there's just nothing else besides gaming for the short term.
It makes sense. So obviously, like, you've been in the space for a while. You've been like making content for a while. Like a lot of people like look up to you for like information. Like me personally, like literally, like I've watched your videos for years. So thank you. I promise I'll start applying some of the techniques you talk about. I'm lying. I'm gonna keep losing money. But yeah. So what advice would you have for like anyone who's like joining the market now, like during like this season of the market?
Yeah, I mean, crypto never is crypto's a game of sort of fighting your emotions. And usually when your emotions are overwhelmingly positive, you should be really freaked out, which is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And when things are overwhelmingly negative, you should actually be getting a little more excited. And so one of the things that's hard right now, as everyone's getting crushed by this bear market, and we have this macro storm, is to understand that like this is the time where you're lucky if you pick it up now, because no one else is. And you actually are going to get the chance to learn when the market's going slow, when there's better price. Like, you don't want to buy something at the top, right? You want to buy at the lows. But the reason why no one does is because the process of getting to the lows and the emotion around the lows is it's so hard to overcome that. And so, I am of the belief that we will see whatever the Fed is doing is going to send things down into a place where they need to then ride in and fix the problem. It might not be the same bazooka of money that they had in 2020, but the economy will require some assistance. And once the easing process starts again, crypto will do well. And so it's really like, there's an amazing opportunity right around the corner here. And it does suck. I try on my channel to keep people as interested as I can, because I know that like through the 2018 bear market, other content creators inspired me constantly to make better content, to stay engaged, to stay focused, and to not give up. Because it's really hard to stay focused on something when you feel like embarrassed, when you feel like you've taken big L's. And I know the whole psychology because I went through it, and I got my parents in at the peak of the 2017 run.
Same.
I lost my mom so much money, and I just felt embarrassed, right? But I was lucky to be inspired by this community, which, crypto is more than just a technology. It's a culture, it's a community, and that's something really, really powerful. And so, I consider the role of content creator here, despite the fact that, there is a lot of sort of negative attention that you get as a content creator here as well. I think that, the people that you can keep engaged through these tough times, I think it is a really important thing that you do. And so, what you guys are doing is really important. The NFT community is way more new, way more green, way less sophisticated, and probably way more impatient than even the crypto community, who are, very, very, tweaky degenerates as well, right? We want things fast, and the stock market doesn't have enough gains for us, and all that stuff, right? And so, but the NFT community, I feel like, is even more like, this is all so new. And so, it's really important to understand that, like, there is a turning point that happens at the bottom of the bear market, and it's not instant. But spreading knowledge and spreading good, high quality research, and making sure that you just don't lose the energy in the room, to me, is just super, super important for content creators throughout this period, because that's the biggest killer. Is people, they know they're right there, they know that the bottom's near, they know that it's going to get better soon, but after so many days they just like lose hope, or maybe they need to get another job, or whatever the reasons are, they effectively leave the headspace. And that's why no one was there in 2020 when the market turned back on. Everyone, even some of the people that are like my longtime crypto buddies, were telling me like, it's not real, it's not a real run. And I was like, no, this is totally different. Like, look at, Aave at the time, like, went like 20x, or like ETHLend, which was what it was called before.
Yeah.
And I bought ETHLend in 2017 or 2018, and and I started seeing the differences. But unless you're really focused on the industry, you won't see those changes where you're like, whoa, I haven't seen this in 3 years. And the difference between seeing a little rally and seeing some real dynamic growth in part of the industry, if you're going to be around for that moment, you're only going to get there if you're really focused.
Man. Yeah, I think you put that really well, and I think that's something that people like really neglect as consumers of content, is the challenge that is sort of presented by trying to create content on the other side in these market conditions, right? Because you've been through it, and you understand that there is always sort of that, metaphorical light at the end of the tunnel, probably. And there is sort of like this great irony of people tending to lose focus and stop paying attention at the time, which could actually probably change, their life circumstances the most. So I want to talk a little bit about how you learned to create the content that you do, right? Because like I'm familiar with your content. I think you do a really good job. I admire a lot of the stuff that you do. Who did you learn from anybody? Like, did you just study other creators, or did you just sort of trial and error figure it out yourself how to create content?
It's a good question. The best way to create content is just to create content. And, you're always, no matter how good your first few videos are, you're always going to look back and be like, what the heck was I thinking, And especially with something like crypto where there is no substitute for experience, right? Like there's like a sixth sense you get after a while where you can see where things are not as bad as they seem, or things are way worse than they seem, and those gut feels have led me to make some incredibly amazing decisions throughout the years. But you just cannot know the difference between 10 situations unless you've been in them, and that's why over time, if you're making content in this space, you're always going to get better because you're always going to learn more and you're always going to evolve. And so, and that comes with the experience in the market as well as the experience making videos and getting better at delivering your thoughts. But really, my first videos weren't even, I didn't even have a camera. I just flipped open my MacBook.
Same.
And I used the cam and mic there, and I was just talking to that, and that was partly because my business partner worked at a YouTube multi-channel network, and he would manage like 500 million monthly views from early YouTube creators, and he was like, look, the camera quality, the audio quality doesn't matter at all. What matters is the video and the title and the thumbnail and your energy, and so just do it. And so I would just spew content out as much as I could each day. And the process forced me every day to do more research, to become that much more obsessive, to realize and watch yourself on so many videos and go, oh, like I like when I do, like I feel like it hits when I do this. I feel like it doesn't hit when I do that. And those are the things that you'll just get by the process, And so I mean, I'm sure at this point there's so many good examples of content creators out there in the industry. You could start by kind of trying to replicate their style. But like I don't read scripts or anything, so I never had scripts. Some people, like once they switched to script writing, their content went like this. And so like maybe scripts are what you need for your content. Maybe scripts are what you don't need for your content. It's about who you are. And I feel like people kind of like my rantiness. Like I feel like it's why people like gravitate towards my channel is that they can tell I'm kind of like really shooting it from the hip. I've deeply researched it and I have like my thing planned out. But this is just how I talk, right? And so, and when I try to make scripted videos, I sound like a robot, and it's just I don't want to watch those videos. And so, if you want to make content, the best thing you could do is just go swing.
As you guys know, we mentioned it during the previous episodes, the #1 blockchain gaming and metaverse launchpad, Seedify, listed their new SNFTs token on August 31st. It's out for about 2 weeks now and already made a jaw-dropping 40x from the initial price during a bear market. It started from under $500,000 market cap and went all the way up to $17 million market cap. It's one of the most talked about projects in the space. The SNFTs token provides huge utilities. Staking or farming the tokens will get you whitelist for the amazing utility-based NFT mints that will take place on Seedify's NFT launchpad, including for their very own Avatars NFT collection that are utility-focused NFTs that will become 3D metaverse characters. In order to get a whitelist chance for it, you will need to stake 500,000 SNFT tokens or farm 250,000 with the S Fund pair. In addition to that, each 10,000 SNFT tokens and 250 S Fund staked or farmed will bring you raffle tickets. Check out the project and get regular time-sensitive updates at Seedify Fund on Twitter. And guys, remember, this segment, as well as all other sponsored segments on the show, have a material relationship with the ngmi podcast. So please do your own research when investing into anything. Now let's get back to the show.
Love that. Yeah, it's like the same with like comedy too, or like even like just like I guess like traditional content creation. It's like you're either like a creator or like a consumer. You can't really do both effectively. Because like if I was to go and like watch like every sketch comedy video that I want to watch on YouTube, like that's taking away from time I would be working on my own videos. So
do you feel like when you watch like comedy, are you like is there a part of you that's like, when someone does really well, that you're like, fuck?
100%.
You're like, fuck that person.
And literally, and like especially in like stand-up culture, it's nothing but that, because it's like, it's just you on stage. It's like it's just you. Like, you're the only person that you can like rely on. So like, there's like such a big like scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
Like in like the whole like kind of like stand-up comedy scene, where it's like, if someone else is killing it, you're just like, oh, like good for you. But then like deep down, you're like, it should have been me. You know what I mean? So
It's not a team sport.
yeah, it's not, but like that is like something I do actually like really like about like Web3, even though like obviously like, you know, you do have like all like the like wag me kind of like toxic positive like bullshit that is spewed, but there is like a little bit of truth to it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I miss Wag Me, and like I really I personally
Me too. Bro.
I personally like think that there's an optimism in this space that people need to understand is legit.
We
Like,
just talked about this.
Yeah.
We just talked about this on a video we filmed right before you came.
yeah, and that's the thing is like, yes, you can lose money. Yes, not everyone is going to get rich, but however, if you do stick in a good group and you do learn constantly and try to get better and understand that success is a process, it's not a destination, and it's not an instant process, then like you can make it. Like, and like everyone I know who stuck around through the last bull market made it. And so it's like they really made it. And so, you know, and I'm so proud of them, because I know how hard it was for me. I know how hard it is. And yeah, like I sacrificed everything in my life to focus on this, you know. I sacrificed everything, and no one can tell me I didn't work hard at achieving what I tried to achieve. But I did it with the support of the community. I did it with the community, and I did it with learning from people. I did it with taking L's and learning from them. And so like when I saw like the Wag Me thing, like, yeah, I mean, I think like the idea that like if Wag Me means to you that everyone will always make money all the time and that there's no potential downsides or risks, then yes, Wag Me is a lie. But to me, there's still an essence of crypto culture and NFT culture where we just say we're gonna choose positivity, and that shit's powerful. So I don't know. I kind of miss Wag Me, and I kind of hope it comes back. But like with people understanding like what it means, which is like any NFT can go to zero, and we've seen now most of them will. Like, of course, it's a JPEG, right?
Especially
like,
anyone I invest in, for sure.
Yes, and so
Particularly.
you should absolutely follow and track K-Money's wallet for that reason. But the reality is that there's also something really significant happening culturally with NFTs, and so they're both true, right? And it's just about understanding, and like the thing that is just the skill you need to learn is to manage risk, right? Which is, if you can learn to manage your own risk and make sure that if and when the worst happens, which it happens cyclically, right? And it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So position around that, right? And you know, like it might seem boring to sell stuff into stable coins throughout the bull run. But it's not so boring when the market, it's not so boring. And you know, I would say that I was pretty shocked, but this is the nature of bull markets, is the bear comes when you don't believe it's possible. Yep. When you're finally convinced that it's no longer possible for a bear market to happen is precisely when it comes, and that's when the bull hits as well. When you lose the belief that a bull is possible, that's precisely when it comes. And there's something weirdly poetic about it, but yeah, like that. I think like towards the end of the year just became, and the beginning of 2022, especially as like Azuki's went crazy and so many things went crazy. And I don't want to clout collect here, but I did believe that NFTs would have a big moment once the altcoin season ended, and they did. But I was hoping that they would keep having mini cycles throughout the winter. And, you know, I have a tweet on, you know, in January where I was like, look, this is one of two scenarios. This is either the last dying breath of the bull run and like the farthest out riskiest spectrum to catch a wave, or this is a signal that, you know, NFTs can be more exciting during the winter. I still think that once we do bottom, NFTs will be more likely to come back and have action before altcoins. But.
Right, and I think that both of those things can actually kind of be true at the same time. Like, I think that era of NFT bullishness was sort of connected to that larger bull cycle, but even like, and I just say this as somebody who spends like way too much time watching a lot of price action, like even right now, the sort of opportunities that we're seeing in NFTs, albeit it's a much less casual space now. You have to if you want to generate actual money, you have to be buying things in sets of 50 or more and selling them. But I mean, if we're just talking if we're talking multiples, right? Like when you look at like a standard stock portfolio, you look at like an 8 to 12% APY annually, right? And you look at these ridiculous, I mean, albeit all going to zero within like days instead of months, NFTs that are 2, 4, 10xing, you know what I mean? In these ridiculous market conditions, I think it's fair enough to say that there is sort of this independent NFT culture that exists, right? And like this subset of people that I think were onboarded in NFTs during the bull market, and the rest of the crypto dance has kind of slowed, but they are like, dude, fuck it, we don't want to leave. You know what I mean? Like they love NFTs almost independently.
Well, I guess I'm curious because my audience is NFT based, crypto based, macro based. Like I've my audience, like I have a lot of people who have been with me since 2018, since DeFi summer, since NFTs and the Metaverse mania. Like, and so I have sort of a collection. But one of the things that I come back to is that it is technology in the end, right? And it's going to be there is a disruptive nature that has to be there if you want to see an asset that you're holding continue to appreciate, I believe. How do you feel the NFT community views disruption and progress?
Dude, to be honest, I think it depends on what subset, right? Like those people that I was just talking about, I guess you can be both, right? But like, I think a lot of the average traders that are kind of scalping profits right now give very little shits about the long-term application of the technology, right? I think that there will come a time, I think a lot of people who are sort of long-term bulls on NFTs think the same way, where we don't even think of NFTs as like an NFT market, where an NFT technology will just be ingrained in a lot of the things you and I do on a daily basis, right? If like you're buying tickets to an event, shout out to Solana maybe, or you're in there's a lot of different applications, right? I talk about it on the channel, you talk about it on the channel. But I think it's kind of like a degen culture right now. I think that a lot of those people who are sort of longer term bulls in the technology are either kind of sitting back and slowly accumulating longer term positions. But honestly, I think you feel that way. So I think I should ask you that question, right? Like if you're somebody who is looking at NFTs as a really disruptive technology, right? Who that's going to do really interesting things in a lot of industries, whether it's gaming or wherever sort of your bull thesis lies. Like, what to you is the appropriate thing to do right now? You know what I mean? Like,
well, so I said with regards to altcoins and the sort of mainstream crypto market, I started sort of tweeting that people should be de-risking. I think my first like de-risk tweet was December 7th. I said, I got the receipts. I said, look, if this crash has you stressed, has you unable to like sleep, and this money is something that you need for your life, then you should take risk off. You're overexposed. And I wasn't calling a permanent bear market at that time because I wasn't clear how powerful the macro was. But the reality is that with NFTs, it's so new and so experimental. There's two ways that you can look at an NFT, which is one, what do you think the aggregate demand for this in the future will be? Like Bored Apes, you're like, okay, well, what is the view of, or CryptoPunks or historic NFTs? You're like, oh, what is this going to look like? Because I see the narrative that these are important things. And, if every millionaire wants a Bored Ape one day, there's only 10,000 of them, right? Or whatever your math is to justify the demand and supply curve continuing to grow. The other thing that I think is really important is that we were talking about the generative art markets, and we were talking about the types of people that collect like fidenzas, right? And one of the things that got me excited, and the reason why I bought a fidenza, was because when I met these people, I realized that these people are not going to be sellers, right? And so I'm buying into something where I know that the other people that hold it are very, very unlikely to hit the sell button. And so, either you see a project or a brand or a hopefully a technology that has a wide enough application where people really want that thing, and that there's too much demand for that thing, so it's going to go up. Or you're like, hey, there's a group of idealistic people in this group, whether that's a Discord that people want access to because it has so much value, and that is the concept that is so important that over time people need that access. Or this is a community of art collectors, for example, and these are like priceless treasures, like a Fidenza, what I hope a Fidenza becomes. Again, I don't know. Fidenzas could be worthless. I don't think so, just because of the group of people that collect them. And then you think, all right, well, you know, those are the two ways I conceptualize NFTs as like things you want to hold on to regardless. And so I'm not much of a seller of NFTs at all. I've scarcely sold any NFTs except to like tax loss harvest at the end of the year.
Only losses in the
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
well, like for example, I have like a ton of ape exposure.
Yep.
And they just keep giving us free money, and so I just kind of was like, well, I'll just.
Did you at least sell the airdrop?
No. So like I kept all my MAYCs, and I minted a lot of mutants. I did sell.
I mean, the coin, the ape coin. Did you sell any ape coin?
Oh no, I sold a lot of ape coin.
Okay.
Because all alts were going to go down, and ape coin was amazing, and I hope it goes to infinity and beyond. But I just know too much about the way sort of fungible crypto works.
Yeah, you have your own, and that probably paid for your initial ape investment. Yes or no?
Oh yes.
Yeah. So you're good. So you're good.
by
yeah, exactly.
by 100x.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was crazy. It was crazy. I was lucky to find apes like within the first few weeks. And what was crazy is I have a chat with my business partner where he's like sending me grails, and they were all like under 2 ETH, and just grails. These were like the nicest ones. These weren't the floor. The floor was still under an ETH. And I remember telling him I didn't quite get it at first. And there's these comments in the chat that are just like harrowing, but he just was like, you need to understand something special is happening here. And I went on the spaces, and I went in the clubhouses, and I just heard them making ape noises, and I felt that feeling. And it's the reason why I bought goblins was because I went in these spaces and I was like, wow, this kind of gives me ape vibes, you know, but there was just a contagious energy where you felt like these people did not care about anything, but they were like willing to like live and breathe this forever. And that really inspired me to sort of understand crypto and what these assets could be in a whole new way. And yeah, like the community around the early ape community is just super special, and really created a whole new era. Like it's a cultural phenomenon, right? And so so definitely I haven't sold a ton of NFTs, and certainly looking back, I could have sold a lot more. The reality is that I've always treated my NFT stuff as highly experimental, and never invested stuff that I felt like, oh my God, if I don't sell that, I'm in trouble. And you should never do that, because that's why I've been able to kind of enjoy the experience, you know? That's why I've been able to enjoy the experience even through the ups and downs.
Is this a podcast episode, or is this an intervention right now? I'm feeling
look, everyone does it
right now, bro.
Everyone does it. Everyone makes mistakes and overexposes, and it's that's is that a did you guys?
Yeah, this is for those of you that are listening, this is I just got liquidated a few hours ago. So a lot of these points he's saying, you know, they're really hitting home with me right now.
And he's and you got liquidated. Why? K-Money.
I was sleeping.
One big error, huge L.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
never,
first mistake.
Yeah,
never ever.
If you're gonna short the market, just don't sleep.
If you plan to sleep, eat, or breathe in the next few days, don't trade.
Yeah, I shorted ETH. I thought the number was only gonna go down. I didn't do the best research I could, and on top of that, when ETH went as low as like 800 or something, I was up huge. And I got greedy.
This is the main. I'll tell you, Ellio. This is the main topic of conversation that Kay and I have pretty often. It's the profit taking. It's the profit taking conversation. This is the most challenging. You know what? And it probably was for you too. For me, when I was new, right? And I first saw the first time I ever saw big numbers on a screen, right? Like I bought a lot of NFTs that are up pretty large in ETH now, not so much in US dollars given the market condition. And the first time I saw those big numbers go up a lot, I was like, oh no way, I'm selling. And the thing is I got poorly conditioned, right? Because my first ever in NFTs, right, big win was buying mutants at like the very bottom, right? And then it's like, and then in my mind I'm like, oh well, I held through 8 and now they're at 12. Like, see, diamond handing is real. Like, that's so super stuff. And then I had to learn that lesson in other ways with a lot of alts, with a lot of like different NFTs. But like that, it's the most ironic thing ever. And I think you've spoken about this on the channel before, right? That this all-time high number being like a myth. It's like this dragon that you chase.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
it is so hard. Like almost all of my friends who are even casually into NFTs or trading crypto, it's like the hardest thing ever for them to take profits. It's almost like impossible. And you talked earlier about like, man, it seems boring at the time, but stabling up during those crypto bull runs. And my friends, like, I have so many people always ask me like, what percentage do I, and it's like, well, step one is just doing it at all.
Yeah.
Like most people are just not doing it at all.
I say this, I've said it, especially going through the DeFi run and seeing how quickly that crashed. But also, some of my best content I think I made was in that like November 2020 era, coming in November, December 2020 era, coming into the next wave, because, and we had just seen how quickly these alts could go down 80%, really crushing losses. And really fast stuff that was like once the darling just a couple of weeks ago, just down. And so like from that point on throughout the entire bull run, I was very in that kind of on edge mindset of like, we don't know when the next 80% correction is going to be. So like, and so many coins that I covered on my channel went up 10, 20, 30, 50, 100x, like crazy numbers. And so, I don't want to say on my channel, especially, if they're smaller market cap coins, sell this right now, because then
You can dump it just like you can pump it.
well, yeah, because then people will be like, Elliot, what price went down? I hate you.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I don't want to be the person that is like the target of why people think that like the price went down.
It's a lose list.
So I try to scream. I'm like, hey, if you have a coin that's up over 2x or up over 5x or whatever, then here's a plan. And so it's a tricky position, but I think that it's just really just the boring approach. I say something, I have something I call the 10, 20, 30, 40.
Yep.
You put 10% into Bitcoin, 20% into Ethereum, 30% into stables, and then 40% stays, or 30% stays in the coin, and 40% goes into stables, which you can deploy then out into new opportunities. And that's like, if you're up 5x, then you have a really nice thing. If you're up, you can do that at any point, but it works really nicely if you have anything that's gone over 5x, which a lot of people have had. And so to me, there are simple ways to do it. You could sell half on a double, just sell, and that's something that is, I didn't do this at all in 2017. In fact, I just kept buying the higher it went up, and doubling down on my winners, which at the beginning of the bull run is okay.
It worked well at the beginning.
Yeah. But what you need to understand is that the pain of the bear market is what taught me, right? Going through the tragic losses of 2018 is what taught me to be cautious. Going through the losses in the end of 2020 taught me to be super, super cautious, even on the new run. And then when the market crashed in April of 2021, through the second half of 2021, when Metaverse mania took off, it was like, we knew, I thought it was pretty obvious that like, at any point it could happen.
It was so toppy and so scary.
It was, yeah, and in the retrospect it's obvious, but like the reality is that
Sorry, it's my body rejecting this.
But yeah, in the end, like the 30x's and 50x's really do happen in the bull run, and they can happen at any time. And you just need to understand the both sides of the game. And I hope my content can keep people in the market and keep people, hopefully, that went through this experience. Hopefully I can, I had people that I know personally that told me that they got totally wiped out. And this is shocking because I know I'd seen them make really significant amounts of money. And so just know it's something that even really experienced people mess up. And in fact, I mean, look at Three Arrows, right? Look at some of the biggest traders and investors in the space. have gotten caught off guard, right? So sometimes being boring is really just the best way to do it. And if you're up, take some profits, stash them in stables, and know that you're gonna underperform other people throughout the good times, right? Because people who are going max risk on will always perform better during the good times. And what we've seen is that the majority of them will get wiped out,
Wrecked.
completely wiped out during the bad times. So your goal is only to keep gains. It's not to be the biggest and fastest horse in the market.
You hear that, Kev?
I hear it loud and clear, bro.
But to be honest, I was stupid. I diamond handed apes way longer than I should have using this philosophy. Apes were the one thing that I just, for some reason, couldn't bring myself to sell.
It's challenging.
Yeah, but there was something ETH-like about them that just felt like they were going to do something more and above.
I think they will, right? And
Yeah.
you're still, I mean, they're outperforming the vast majority of the market. Ridiculously. And I think that, and I was thinking about this while you were talking about sort of these subsets of NFTs earlier. The way that I look at NFT technology, again, just sort of as a vehicle and sort of like the current playground of choice for a lot of these speculative assets. But what I love about NFTs, and this is sort of attributed to their, I suppose, JPEG nature, is like we're starting to see some of these really strong IP brands emerge. And that makes me happy because like that's why, I mean, when I look at like a Yuga, right, and you talk about apes, like I see basically, and of course there's never really two options, but I see basically two options, right? Like either my investment in the UL Labs ecosystem is going to continue to appreciate over time, or NFTs are over. Like the NFT market is going to be like, I don't see another way. I don't see another thing that happens.
If Yuga doesn't make it, nobody's going to make it.
Makes sense.
It would be hard to see the same type of assets or the reality is NFTs are always going to make it because this is a really core technology for the internet. That's a fact. Now, whether NFTs become more like receipts of purchase or you have the deed to your house is on Bluetooth as an NFT and whatever the like, and that's how you unlock your house. Like there's a lot of weird and cool use cases that don't necessarily have the same kind of like financialized application. But the reality is for this kind of collectible NFT culture that we currently are in, the PFP culture, yes, apes need to continue to be strong, and they are. And so we should be pretty thankful to Yuga for holding it down like that.
It's actually crazy. It's actually absurd.
Yeah, and they've had a successful other side test
today.
So shout out to them.
Yeah, like 5,000 concurrent users. That's
Yep.
a good one.
Shout out to Improbable. They're server tech. Really cool stuff going on there, and it's really good for the space, their success. So, but what I want to be clear is like, I'm a big believer that it's all gaming focused, right? In the end, it comes down to gaming, and that's why you've seen everyone who becomes successful in NFT jumps and goes, okay, so how do we do gaming? Because once you start looking around the corners, it makes too much sense, and it's so obvious. And so the question is, which game? Who's it going to be? Which models and which economic designs matter? These are the reasons why I think this is really the right now everyone's laughing at the metaverse, right? Everyone's laughing at metaverse coins. Everyone's laughing at metaverse projects. And that to me is like, it is like overwhelming the feeling I have of intuition that this is the biggest opportunity ever, because once again, it's fallen out of favor. Prices have started to normalize. Funding has dried up. And the real teams are still building, and we will see the rise of incredible metaverse projects and gaming projects over the next few years. And to me, those are the killer apps, because there could be billions of people playing these and using these and caring about these. The market is at scale, it's global. And so, whereas the types of people who really want to pay to flex an NFT as their PFP, like that is a much more narrow market.
Yep.
And there's just the concept of value is a lot less direct.
Our next sponsor is Venture Capital X, or VCX for short. Issuer of the first NFT giving exclusive access to both equity investment opportunities in private companies 6 to 12 months before they go public, and to early stage Web3 crypto investment opportunities. Traditionally, these opportunities are only available to VCs, angel investors, or high net worth individuals who can write large check sizes of $100,000 and more. VCX is changing that by offering its cardholders the chance to invest up to $10,000 in pre-initial public offerings, pre-initial coin offerings, and pre-initial DEX offerings. Cardholders will be able to opt in or pass if they choose on each deal presented on VCX's dashboard. Cardholders will invest directly through VCX's partners brokers in order to adhere to securities regulations for equities deals, and directly through our VC Web3 partner for ICOs and IDOs where no KYC process is required. VCX also offers its members concierge services to source and skip the lines to buy luxury goods such as Rolex, Patek, high-performance cars such as Porsche and McLaren, to obtain discounts at specialty partnered hotels around the world, and to access to senior vice president level services at Sotheby's Real Estate in any geography around the world. To learn more, please visit VCX's website. And if you want to win a very exclusive whitelist spot, they have given us 25 spots to give away through a pre-mint raffle, which will be pinned at the top. As a reminder, this sponsor, as well as all of our sponsored segments, have a material relationship with the NGMI podcast. So please do your own research, and none of this is financial advice. All right, back to the pod.
And so I just, gaming to me is the one thing that I think right now people might roll their eyes at, because they got hurt by one gaming project, maybe values went down on one gaming project, or they just saw the industry start to recede on the hype. But that's why, to me, it's hard to see it now. But I believe looking back in a few years, people will go, oh my God, if only I had been active on the gaming scene in 2022 and 2023 and 2024, because these next few years are going to be where the magic happens. And then everyone will look back and go, they got lucky and all that stuff. And you guys know it's not luck. It sucks. It's hard. It's so hard.
And it's all a game of emotions too.
Yeah.
And mental control.
And we were talking about comments, right? You know, like the community and people online don't realize how hard it is to be right all the time, and how you're just going to be wrong sometimes. And you work so hard to be right and to give the best balanced advice. And then, you know, the reality is that overall, the long-term directional trends that you call, I think, are the most important, because those are the things that can, even if you miss on certain ones, you can make it on the trend, and the trend is your friend when you nail it. And so to me, that's the thing that I am still 100% every day working from sun up to sundown on, which is how do we bring this stuff mainstream? And I'm excited for it, because finally, you know, I've gotten enough bad comments and good comments that I don't take enough stock in them. I don't think I'm a genius at the top of the market, and I don't think I'm a horrible person at the bottom of the market. I just try to do my best.
You're both of those things.
Yeah, I'm apparently both of those things to different people.
Yeah.
And the reality is that this is still the biggest opportunity in the world, and it's the biggest industry in the world, NFTs, and it's going to be really exciting to see it develop. So I hope everyone is able to take perspective and to lick your wounds and to just at least stay focused. You don't need to stay invested to stay focused, right? You can stay focused without risking money. And I think that's what the one thing I hope people do, which is just to keep watching NGMI and you know, and I think WAGMI's real, so, you know.
He misses WAGMI. I do too.
I miss WAGMI.
I miss WAGMI so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask you one thing. So I'm not gonna manifest this for you or anything, but like, let's say you know, your YouTube, like all of your social media accounts got like terminated, you lost all your money, you're completely wiped out, you have like $1,000 to like start everything again. Like what would your like game plan be?
I would live extremely cheaply, and I would work every day to contribute to the space. I think that content creation, I think that finding how to work for a company in the space, I think that focusing on how to develop yourself and your own skills is something that is a rain or shine skill set. You know, pushing yourself into discomfort and constantly growing, those are the things that you should be focusing on. The last thing you should be doing is buying assets if you have $1,000 left to your name. What you should be doing is figuring out how you can become a valuable contributor to companies, the community, and the world at large around you in general, because those are things that people will always want to pay for. But you know, there's no guarantee that you're going to make money on any asset purchase in the short term right now. It's not 2021 where there was a high probability that you could make money by degenning. You know, the reality is that right now, if you should either be dollar cost averaging into things that you know are bulletproof, long-term Bitcoin, Ethereum, and any project that you believe has it. Obviously, I have a project, so I'm like 1,000% committed to that.
Yeah.
But the reality is that you know, if you have $1,000, going and trying to think, well, what's the next mint, is the wrong mentality, because you're constantly, you're not really taking responsibility for your own success at that point. You're kind of letting the market and external factors control your success. And so to me, it's like, you should be thinking every day, how hard can I work to be a better version of myself and to bring value to people around me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was asking because I have $1,000 left in my name. So.
Well, hey, K Money, I think you do contribute. I think everyone in NFTs can say that you've made their life a little bit better, and I think that that's really important. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I don't do a lot of podcasts, right? But whenever K Money calls and he's like, I want to make content, I'm like, let's do it, because I think comedy is so important, especially in these times.
Yeah,
it's a superpower, and like people need to realize that it's never as bad as it seems.
For
right?
sure.
And it's never as bad as it seems.
It's only way worse. It's so
only
much
way
worse.
Yeah, like K Money calls him and he's like, yeah, of course. And then he has to listen to me ask him like 100 fucking questions about Metaverse gaming. He got hoodwinked.
Dude,
I love it though. I love it.
Oh, this is going to be a fun
Yeah,
podcast.
this is so fun and live.
Yeah.
Wait, but I want to, okay, wait. But it is called ngmi, and I have to ask you, right? And this is a sensitive subject. You know, we are non-financial advisors, but YouTubers who are, you know, great content geared around being successish navigators of the crypto market. But I have to ask, right? I want to go through. Kevin, it might be appropriate for you to go first. I guess you have to be comfortable sharing it. Maybe there's some that are so embarrassing you don't want to, but I want to know like the worst and funniest trade that you've made in recent memory, like your worst trade.
Yeah, okay, in recent. All right, let me think. What's like the worst?
But in recent, like how
In memory, in forever.
Forever. Okay. Well, definitely the worst trade I ever made was going all in on Tron at 30 cents in 2018, at the beginning of 2018. And I really, just in general, bought into the alternative, like the ETH killer narrative. Like I really bought into the ETH killer narrative, and I went YOLO on Tron at 30 cents. And I was like, this guy like has like 30 million followers in China. Like I was so not understanding what made ETH so special. And I was so not understanding the strength of the developer community and other things that really are the reason why ETH is ETH. And I also didn't understand, you know, sort of who Justin Sun was and what he was really going to do over the next few years with Tron. And they actually continue to have like little runs, so it's not actually as bad as some of the other coins, but that was a really rough one. I definitely bought a ton of NFTs in the generative art top last year, which now generative art is having a little moment.
A day in the sun right now.
Day in the sun, yeah. Shout out to generative art. But I definitely spent like a few hundred ETH on generative art that became pretty much worthless.
Happens, man.
Yeah.
Regular thing to do.
100 ETH?
Yeah.
Really regular person thing to do. Like a lot of people have made that exact same mistake.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I probably shouldn't have said quantities. I don't really talk size of my trades usually on the channel, but the reality is that I got absolutely wrecked. And so yeah, I had to tax loss harvest that, because the worst would have been to get wrecked on that level and then have to pay taxes on those as gains. So understand, if you have losses, sometimes if you have other gains, they can be not as painful.
Speaking of getting double wrecked by taxes, shout out to all the NFT projects who raised, you know, like $3 million, didn't sell any of their ETH and are now unable to even pay the, you know.
Okay. Hold on. Projects, listen to me. Okay? Do not gamble with your project's funding. And by holding it in anything other than stables, you are taking directional risk, okay? Everyone in the ICO era learned this, because all the ICOs raised in ETH during 2017, and they all got turbo wrecked when ETH crashed, because they all were just YOLO long ETH. NFT projects, please Sell your ETH for stables if you're going to run it like a real project. Otherwise, you're essentially putting you could end up with a quarter of the runway, as we've seen. So please don't gamble with your project funds, please.
Champs only stabled all of our ETH long ago. Thanks, Ellio. Quick plug for me. No, but
Shout out to Champs Only. They have so many stables.
No, but
all the stables.
Seriously though, like you don't see. Yeah, okay. If you take any sort of regular business acumen or knowledge about how companies are run, it should be a no-brainer to stay. Anyway, I didn't get to tell you about my horrible trades.
Tell me about your horror stories.
That was really funny. Everybody, man, my dude, I lost so much money on Ohm Forks, Elio, like so much money on Ohm Forks. Shout out to Time Wonderland. Thanks, Danny. And a whole bunch of other ones.
I feel bad because I covered Time before it went like 40x.
I remember you did a whole AVAX ecosystem.
Yeah,
and it was it was great. It was great.
And in retrospect, there are so many things that I feel bad. I don't think Danny necessarily is the reason why that all came apart.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so I apologize to anyone who got messed up by Time. I thought it was timely when I covered it, but
it was dude. It was up like 10x, more than 10x from when you covered it, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I think it went like 30 plus.
Yeah,
X
exactly.
when I covered it,
You guys were ahead of Joe and all that stuff. So you have nothing to apologize for. That unless people like Kevin follow you, they never sell it. Kevin, what's yours? Your worst one?
It's a tie between 112xing on SafeMoon last year and not realizing any of those profits, or I guess like in the NFT space.
That's pretty rough.
Yeah, that's really rough.
That's pretty rough.
Really rough. And then beginning of January this year, when Crypto Bats first came out, huge Ozzy Osbourne fan. I bought like ETH. I think it was like $4,500 at the time, like around there. I got I think like 4 Crypto Bats at 2 ETH each. They're all currently worth 0.1. And then most recently, I bought a Goblin Town at 7 ETH with the burger at an ETH and a half. I think all in all after gas, like I was in around like 9 ETH. And then I got drunk. I got in an argument with them at NFT NYC, and I sold it all for 3 ETH in total.
I mean, aren't they lower than that now?
No, I think they're up now. They're pumping.
I think they're at like 3.2. So
yeah, but like I sold them. I think like ETH was like less than 1,000 too. So for anyone that wants to make money, follow these two guys. But also, they're not financial advisors. If you want to lose money though, follow me. I am a financial advisor, so I will say that.
He loves DeFi. No, but the simple way to make money, if you actually want to make money in a way that doesn't make you insane, is throughout this bear market to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum over a long period of time, right? Weekly buys, set a plan for like up, a year and a half, 2 years. That's a way to not go insane and know that as the market does come back, those are assets that will come back. Yep. And so, like obviously, by steadily growing or not losing money, that's really the only thing that anyone should be concerned with. Because look, everyone's going to have these moments next time. There's another SafeMoon. There's another Bored Ape, right? There's another project that is going to deliver insane returns. And then, next time you guys will be hopefully a little bit better
smarter.
Well, like just learn from the pain, right? Like you don't learn from everything going your way. Like you just don't learn from that. And so I think a lot of people I know joined NFTs sort of during the good times, like late half of 2021 or early 2022. And yeah, like I know it sucks to hear, but like you need to have these moments to learn about them. And that's why the OGs, which are people that you should definitely surround yourself with, are the perspectives you need, because they're the ones who look at the next earth-changing thing with skepticism, and they're also the ones who look at things like Bitcoin and ETH on discount as amazing. And so, like, once you start to get in that headspace, that's the key to success. Experience, surrounding yourself with smart people, and understanding that taking L's and learning is part of the journey.
Dude, I love that. Thank you.
The best, man. You've
Thank
been super generous with your time. We're probably kind of up on like an hour.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, this is like an hour on the dot.
So, where can they find you, man? Where can the people keep up with Elio Trades.
I appreciate the shout out. I'm Elio Trades at Elio Trades on Twitter. I'm Elio Trades Crypto on YouTube, and would love to have you join the community. And I make a lot of YouTube videos, and I hope it makes your journey a little bit better, hopefully more successful, and we can keep each other company throughout the bear market.
His views, just like his portfolio, outperforming the market. I would know. I make videos too. So, seriously, great content. And we appreciate you coming on. It's pretty cool. I'd never met Ellio in person, but I've seen his videos since before I had any sort of following. So, it's a cool full circle moment. And hopefully we have you on again sometime, man. I appreciate it. Kev, did you have any?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, one, I appreciate you, and also after you came on here, I think the next time you do want to come on here, the podcast name probably won't be ngmi. It'll be We Missed WAGMI. So
we miss WAGMI.
Dude, I fucking miss WAGMI. All right, thanks, bro.
Well, cheers. Thanks everyone for having me.
Right.
Peace.
Peace. Appreciate it. We're good.